Hello.
Morning, sir.
Okay, now let us start today's discussion. Okay, so in the last lecture, we were here. A question was asked that what happens if input and output terminals are reversed in the full wave bridge rectifier. Okay, so by now, I think you might have gone through this and find out the solution. Okay, that if we interchange the input and output terminals, then this is not going to work. Okay. Why it is not going to work? Because here in this diagram, what we can see is input is here between these two terminals given, and output are taken now between these two terminals. Okay. Okay. So these are the two terminals, output terminals here. So what will happen here that in one case, two diodes will come together with the input, whereas for the second so far seen the half a rectifier and summary sheet, which you can see. So full wave rectifier has been realized using two different main and rectifier.
Your voice is not clear.
Sheet of these two.
Sir, your voice is
So
breaking.
different values became. Voice is not coming. Is it so? But I am not muted.
Sir, your voice is breaking.
Am I not audible? This is the problem of hybrid mode. Half of the people can listen, half of the people cannot listen. Okay, so we have here different values, just put it together. So there is no new information here. Only we can just compare here the half wave rectifier and full wave rectifier. So in terms of the main things which we can see is ripple factor. ripple factor is drastically decreased. Almost it is 1/3. Efficiency has doubled almost, and TUF is also increased here. TUF for the half rectifier was 0.287, whereas for the full rectifier it is 0.69. For center tap, this is the average value. As already we have seen, this is the average value because the primary and secondary of the center tap rectifier is utilized differently. So this number is not the absolute value, but it is the average value. Whereas for the bridge rectifier, it is the absolute value here, okay, 0.81. So looking at these different values, we can see that bridge rectifier happens to be a better choice out of these different rectifiers, okay. But of course, the bridge rectifier is using 4 diodes as compared to the half wave or center tap. Okay, so that's what the disadvantage one can count. Else, we have many advantages. So by now you may be knowing about these. Okay, RMS load current is IM upon square root 2 for full wave rectifier. Okay, so these are the values for the full wave rectifier. Average load voltage, one can multiply by this current by the load resistance. Okay, so this is the DC value here, average load voltage. Ripple factor already we have computed 0.48. Okay, so far we have seen that in the output of the half wave rectifier or the full wave rectifier, there is some part of AC components. Okay, that we have also tried to compute in terms of ripple factor. Okay, so but the rectifiers, if they are used for say some average values, some DC values, okay, then we must get rid of these AC components from the output. Okay, we shall see that it is not possible to completely remove the AC component, but we can reduce this by a large extent with the help of something called as filter. Okay, so we can use some sort of the filtering circuits at the output of the rectifiers, which tries to suppress the varying components or the AC components to large extent. We will I have a more mathematical details here, but we shall go quickly. There is no need of going each and every step here. Just we shall look at the concept how these filters are able to remove the varying components, and what are the different ways by which we can do so. Okay, so idea is here that we have our rectifier circuit here, and if we do not have this filter, then it can be directly connected, the output of this rectifier can be connected to the load resistance, which we have seen. Now we are trying to insert here this filter here, okay, which is some sort of electrical components which will try to suppress the AC components. Okay. So the two concepts are taken into account to design our filtering circuit here. First thing here is that inductance. If you look at inductance, this acts as short circuit for DC. Okay, and it gives a very large impedance for the AC signals. Okay, so if we look at the amount of impedance, okay, given by the inductance or inductors here, then it is omega L R2 pi FL. Okay, where F is the frequency. So if frequency is increasing for a given value of the inductor, we will have this XL to be also increased. Okay. So for high frequency components, this inductor is going to, any inductor is going to give a high impedance, whereas if the frequency is say 0, then XL will become 0 here. Okay, so that's what it is just written, that inductance acts as short circuit for DC. So if we want to pass the DC signal, then we may try to put the inductor in series, so that for DC it is going to act like a short circuit. It will not attenuate, it will not make any potential drop DC, okay, corresponding to DC signals, whereas the AC signals, it will try to just suppress it, okay, attenuate it, and there will be a corresponding potential drop. Okay, and as the frequency is increasing, this impedance is increasing, and the corresponding drop will also increase. Okay, so we can use the inductors in series. Another component, electrical component, which is there, is capacitor. Okay, so we can use the capacitor also. The capacitor actually is just opposite to that of the inductor. Okay, so the capacitor impedance is given by 1 upon, okay, omega c. Actually we are not writing here j, just try to look at that these are the magnitudes here. Just do not write j. Okay, so x is equal to 1 upon omega c. So actually just reverse. Okay, so for a capacitor acts like an open circuit for the DC signal, whereas it will give a low impedance path for the AC signals, and as the frequency increases, it will be more like a short circuit. Okay, so for very high frequency, the capacitors acts like short circuit, whereas for DC signals, they act like open circuit. So we can use the capacitors in parallel to the output, whereas we can use the inductors in series with the output. Okay. So we may try to use both together, or we can use separately. Either we can try to use only say capacitor, or we may also use only inductor, or we can also have a combination of inductor and capacitor. Okay.
Why should we connect capacitor in parallel or series?
Okay. So the idea was here that we should connect the inductor in series. Okay. So as we can see here, the impedance given by inductor is omega times L. Omega times L. Okay. So it is here. So for DC signals, the frequency omega is 0. Omega is angular frequency, where F is the frequency in hertz. Okay, hertz is the number of, okay, times a signal is changing its value, okay, in per second. So omega L, okay. So this value for DC signal is 0. So for DC signal, this inductor, okay, this inductor which is here, it will appear as if it is not present there, okay. It is acting like a short circuit here. Whereas for AC signals having a high frequency, this will actually give a very high impedance, okay. High impedance means what? A current is flowing, say, some current is flowing. The current value you can measure already using the KBL. Suppose input is the BI divided by, say, Z is the say, impedance of this inductor and the load resistance is RL. So total resistance will be in the path will be this. So current will be very small. If Z is say very large, if your Z is large, then current is going to be small. Okay. So current is small, it means a large voltage drop is going to occur across this Z, whereas a small current, okay, is passing through load resistance as R and making a smaller voltage drop. So a smaller fraction of this input signal is appearing across load resistance R, and most of the signal is being dropped across this. Okay. For capacitor, we are trying to use it into parallel. Okay, so let us have a circuit here. Okay, suppose we have a load resistance RL here, a capacitor C, and input signal Vi some. Okay, something like this. Now the amount of impedance due to this is 1 upon omega C. Okay, so if omega is equal to 0, then this is going to be infinite. Infinite means open circuit. Okay, so for DC signal, this is for the DC. So for DC signal, it will appear as if there is no capacitor at all. Okay, so our equivalent circuit will seem to be like this here. So all the current, whatever it is there, it is passing through the load resistance RL, making all the DC signal, the DC component to appear across load resistance RL, because no current is passing through this. Okay. So DC is passing, it is passing the DC signal, okay, passing the DC signal through the load resistance RL. Now suppose we have AC signal, a frequency, okay, associated with the input signal, then it will be having smaller values. As you can see, if omega is getting, if omega is increased in this case, then XC is going to decrease. Okay. So in this here, we shall have, say, this kind of equivalent circuit. Let us call XC only. Okay. So what we see here, that there is some current being driven from source Vi. A part of this is going to flow through this load resistance, and a part is going to flow through this capacitor. because capacitor is now providing a low impedance path. Okay, this is a low impedance path. Right. So a major portion of the current is going to pass through IC. You can apply the current divisor rule. Okay.
Only AC will pass through the capacitor, right?
No, no, it is not like that. Okay, only AC. It is not like that. AC signal is going. Yes, AC signal is going to pass through this. Yes, but it is not. It doesn't mean that through RL it is not passing. Okay, a part of the AC signal is going to pass through the RL as well as through this capacitor. Okay, and as the frequency is increasing, a major portion of the current is going to pass through the capacitor as compared to the load resistance RL, and so we will have a smaller output corresponding to the input, a varying signal input. Okay, that's what it is. Okay. So it means it is attenuating. Okay, a major part is getting removed. Okay, from the output. That's that of the varying signal. Okay, whereas it is passing the DC signal through it. Okay, so that's what we mean here. So these properties are being used into this. Okay, so the capacitor filter, if we only use capacitors to design the filter, these are called capacitor input filters, and if we use inductors, this is called choke input filter. Okay, because of this convention used. Okay, so actually it becomes ambiguous after this because both has the short form of CIF, capacitor input filter or choke input filter. Okay, okay, so anyway, capacitor is actually very simple element which is very cheap, takes very small area also to design a one can say respectable value of the capacitor, whereas inductor takes a larger area. Okay, it is big in size. Okay, and difficult to design also. We will see. Okay, so mostly the capacitors are preferred over the inductors. Okay, so that is what we must note here. So concept we shall see here. Now this is capacitor input filter at across the load, because we have just understood here that either we can use the inductors in series or we can use the capacitor in parallel. Okay, so here capacitor is being used in the parallel to the output here. So what is happening here due to the use of this capacitor into the parallel? Let's argue here. So this is the half wave rectifier circuit here. This ES is nothing but the input voltage VI here, and here it is the voltage across the capacitor. So when we look at this a positive half cycle, in the cycle when the diode is becoming on first. Okay, if the diode is off, there is no current, of course. Okay, so suppose one is given the input to vary first negative to have negative half and then positive half, then that also we have to start the analysis from the positive half actually. Okay, because for the negative half the diode will be off and there will be no current. Okay, right? So Here we take the positive for the first positive half year of the input signal. The diode is on. If we assume that diode is ideal one, in that case, this will offer a very okay. This will act like a short circuit here. So, and the RS, the secondary of the transformer, is assumed also to give very small resistance. RS is also 0. So what happens? This capacitor finds a low resistance path. There is something called as charging constant or time constant, RC time constant, okay, which decides the how fast the capacitor is going to charge or discharge, okay. So this is also sometimes called tau, and the discharging is proportional to this exponential relation, okay. Discharging, okay. Discharging is proportional to this, and charging is say this. So exponentially it is going to increase actually. So what will happen here due to this? Uh, the RC time constant is very small. As soon as the diode is becoming on, and the capacitor starts charging first. Okay. Capacitor starts charging because of RC constant is very small. Okay. And capacitor, because for the AC signal, capacitor is giving a low impedance path, okay. That's why the majority of the current is flowing through the capacitor and not going through the load resistance R. So that also we can look into here. We can also take into this account. So now the capacitor is charging and almost instantaneously charging, okay, without no time delay, because RC time constant is very small. So you can see here that as the input is increasing here, the output is also increasing in tandem here, okay, so without any lag. RC time constant is very small. It goes to the maximum voltage here. Maximum voltage is here ESM written. We can think of this as VM also. Okay. So potential across this DC is equal to VM or ESM, whatever we can call here. So once the potential across this is VM here, what is happening? After attaining the peak value by the input signal, the input signal magnitude is decreasing below VM. Okay, no value above VM is possible for the input. So after peak here, it is coming down. What it means here, that input is now less than VM. If we look at the magnitude of the input signal as compared to the VM, what is the VM now? This VM is the voltage at which the capacitor has charged. So we have a large potential on the N side and a small on the P side. It makes the diode to be off. Okay, because of this, the diode becomes off. After the input signal goes to the peak value, after that, the diode becomes off because of this reason. Diode has charged to VM, and now Vi goes below VM. After that, okay, after here, Vi is less than VM. So N side becomes actually has larger potential as compared to the P side. So it becomes a kind of reverse bias. Reverse bias means off condition. So now diode offers a large resistance in the off condition. So there is no current flowing through this. What happens? The capacitor is charged to BM now, and RL resistance is now connected here. It was already connected, but because of the diode action, it was getting charged. It was not discharging. But now the input signal is cut off from the circuit because the diode becomes reverse bias, and the capacitor which has been charged to VM potential now start discharging through the load resistance RL with a time constant RL time C. RL is significant now, load resistance. It is of the order of kilo ohms. Capacitor is also there. Okay, so there is a some means value of time constant RLC, and with this time constant, it start decreasing. Okay, so if we make RLC, okay, RC, let us make RC only. L actually will confuse us that it is inductor. Okay, so RC. If RC is large, time constant is large, then rate of discharging will be slow. If RC is less, then rate of discharging will be faster. So we can make the discharging slower by making it large, RC. If we can make it large enough, then it will be slow discharging, and by the time the next positive cycle starts of the input signal, it will again the diode, there may be a condition when the diode will become on, and again the capacitor will start getting charged. Okay. So what happens because of this? We have no case in which the output voltage goes below certain level, and we have now almost constant output signal. Okay, a lesser variation we can see in the output. Okay, so a complete diagram is shown for almost 2 cycles here of the input. So first cycle already we have first half cycle we have already understood here. So for the second half, okay, here as the input moves from here, say up to T1 here, then capacitor discharges slowly during negative half cycle because RC constant is large. Okay. So it is shown like this. Okay. So by the time here the first okay negative half cycle ends here and the second positive half cycle starts, we have a signal at the input here with this polarity here. Now the condition, if Vi is greater than the Vc, then this diode will become on. Okay, so we have to see this condition. So there is some discharging value here. So after this, it has discharged by the time T2 here, and after that, input voltage exceeds this potential held by the capacitor. Then it starts charging again. Okay. So here we just see that voltage across the capacitor is changing like this here to some certain value, and after this again it charges to peak value Vm again, and the things again repeats itself. for the further cycles. Okay. So diode we can see is going to conduct for a very small time period, for the time in which the input signal is going from this discharge value of the capacitor to the peak value of the capacitor. So here we have the peak value Bm, and this is the discharge value of the capacitor Bc dash, let us say. So between this only diode on a diode current flows. Okay, so we can see that certainly because the earlier the output was like this here. Now the output is changed here. We have something like this here, and then something like this here. Okay, so certainly the DC value is going to increase here. We cannot do the mathematical analysis and all those things and compute the values, but this is the this is how capacitor input filter is going to decrease the ripples here. We can also find out these other things also. A similar thing we can also argue for the full wave rectifier. FWR means full wave rectifier. Okay. So again, we can put the capacitor across the load here as shown. For the first half cycle, the capacitor charges to Vm. After that, input start decreasing. So this diode will become off, but the second diode is not going to on because the input voltage is still positive. Only the thing what has happened is that input voltage becomes less than Vm. Okay, and the capacitor has charged to Vm. So because of this reason, the diode D1 and D2 will be off here, and the capacitor will discharge through this load resistance RL, and we can again make the RC large enough so that the discharging is slow. Okay, so it is slowing, but after this okay, so this is here. After Bm, what we have seen that it was the diode D1 and D2 both were off, but after as soon as here we reach our Vi is less than 0, the polarity reverses. Okay, so like this. Okay, so diode D2 will become on, and because of that, again the current will start flowing and charging the capacitor. So it again starts charging. It will again charge to Bm, and as soon as and after this peak value here, what happens? We are here now. Negative peak. Okay, it is positive peak and it is negative peak. So as soon as the input voltage comes below this negative peak, the D2 also becomes off. D1 is already off. Flows again. Here is longer time here. Okay. Whereas for the full rectifier, this is changing twice, whereas in the half rectifier it is changing only once. So that is the AC frequency. Okay, the one can say signal changing frequency. One can see at the output is going to increase. Value here value will be smaller as compared to this, because this is getting recharged. For this, so this similarly one, okay, give the same.
Sir, your
What
voice
is
is
happening in the
breaking.
first quarter of the cycle? What the next that just gives
Sir, your voice is breaking.
so some years signal here has been just a part of this signal here, so signal here, and angular signal RMS different thing. If one is interested, one can go through the mathematical. Okay, so which becomes of the uh, capacity, how it is trying to see component. There is also in such kind of as a signal circuit and sudden abrupt change in something, some signal that is going to correspond to a okay. So changing something. So say it was at rest, there was no voltage. Suddenly you applied some voltage. Okay, in a say fraction of seconds. So how fast your signal was there available, that will decide. Okay. So these things you may see in signal systems kind of subject where you will analyze the signals. Okay, these signals which we have just seen, okay, you will see in more details. Something called as Fourier series, okay, expansion of these signals, okay, you will look at. There we will try to learn how the different signals can be thought of made of a single kind of signal, single set of signals, that is sinusoidal signals, okay. So each and every, even the triangular, square, okay, rectangular wave, any kind of waves, okay, you can realize using these sinusoidal signals. Okay, so that we will look at. That is a different subject. So you will see those things here. Here only our thing is here to understand that a large current may pass through here. Okay, so if the current is too large, then it may damage. Okay, so we may need to have some protective circuits here. Okay, that's what. So our circuit is not complete here, that only say use the diodes and the okay, this capacitive filter here, that doesn't actually is not the complete circuit. Okay, we have to also have some kind of surge protections. So surge protections should be such that it can sustain the largest amount of the current which may be possible in a given circuit. So some components we can add which can actually change its impedance corresponding to the frequency and may attenuate the signal, high frequency signals. Okay, so inductors may be used in series or something like that. Okay, one can also analyze mathematically that what amount of surge current is passing through a given circuit using the charge conservation analysis. Okay, so with this we stop here. Again, I think repetition. So today we try to understand the how we can use the filters. Okay, in the laboratory of this particular subject, you will also perform. You may also perform the experiments in the lab. Okay, how we can use the filters. Maybe some of you may have also used in the lab. So in the half wave rectifier and full wave rectifier, you can use the filters and try to compute the DC values, the refill factors, or other say important parameters. Nowadays, actually in the lab, you may not see the this center tap transformer or the transformer. Okay, we just directly actually derive the AC signals from the signal generators. Okay, and give these signals to the our circuits. Okay, half rectifiers, this full rectifiers in our laboratory. So these do not give that much large currents. Okay, the surge current is not a problem in our circuits. It was a problem when we use by which is strong enough. Okay, so that can give that kind of problems. But in our laboratory circuits, okay, this may not be a problem. So with this, we will stop here. If you have any questions, we can discuss.